Hello, welcome back to Zoographist, and I'm Dr. Fox. And I'm sorry for that long delay that happened. I have caught with some personal and financial issues, so I was held up there. And honestly, I didn't think anybody is watching my tutorials. But the comments, some of the guys commented here. So yeah, you are watching, so I apologize to you. And yeah, many things are changed, and I am trying to reduce my tutorial length also. uh, yeah, for maybe not in this one, the later tutorials will be having less duration, should be. I'll try. And yeah, some things are changing. You can see the backgrounds are changed, and also I bought this one, so we don't have to say if you have a gamepad it won't be a ball value, with the keyboard it's a ball value. Now we have the in-between value, so we don't have to worry about that. And I'm loving it, that gamepad. Okay, yeah. And in this tutorial we'll be adding we are changing our input. If you remember, there's an input action. We are changing some input actions, and we are changing our camera, how our camera behaves in our video. So without, we don't have to waste any time here, let's go into our game. Okay, here we are with Unreal Engine again, and I'll be honest, I totally lost track of my tutorial, and I'm sorry about that again. And I don't remember what I was doing, and I think I have made some changes or some tests in this blueprint, so that will be an issue if you are using this thing. I don't remember what those were. So let's import our sports car again, and let's replace all this blueprint with our default ones. Importing the sports car again is easy because we changed our name to sports car parent pawn. So it will be, when we import our sports car again, it will be only importing this thing. Wherever we change the name, it will be importing that. It won't be replacing any of this if we made any changes here, so that's a good thing. And since we have already changed our name here, we don't have to worry about the, and I think we changed this name here to sports car GM. I believe we have changed that too, and that won't be an issue. So let's go to our content, right click, add import and content, or we can do this thing also. Both are the same. We can go to add feature or content pack, both are same. So let's add feature or content pack, and if you miss that, just press this button and go to add feature or content pack. And let's go to our vehicles and add to project. As you can see, we have changed our vehicle mode and it is imported again. We don't need that, but let's delete that one. Yeah. And if I go to sports car, as you can see, it is imported again. And let's open that up. We have all the blueprints by default here. Let's copy that and open the sports parent pawn, and let's delete all of this. That's everything, and let's paste it here. And it's showing something is missing. It's okay, it's not a missing one, it's a custom event we have made, or the Unreal Engine made, and it's not missing. It's just can't identify which one is connected to that. It's okay, you don't have to do anything, just do nothing and press confirm. And this is the one which one is missing, and if I double click, it is identifying this one, but the connection have some problem. Let's disconnect that, and I think the target self is doing the issue. So let's connect it again with an interps to origin rotation, and let's delete this one and press compile, and it is working. I think let's go to our bus world and hit play, and yeah, our bus is running, so everything is working. But when I hit break, this happens. What is that? And you might also stumbled upon this issue, and I'll show you that issue right away. Let's go to our sports car parent pawn, and whenever I hit break, that happens. So it will be on our braking, I think this one, braking action. Let's see what our braking action is doing. It is setting brake input that we need, and there's something else it is doing. It is triggering this brake lights. What is that brake lights? Let's see what is that brake light. Let's double click and it opens another function. You don't have to worry about this right now. This is a different, just imagine this as a different event graph which contains inside this node. And let's see what that node is doing. It is triggering the brake light whenever this node is triggered. This node is triggering, and it's creating a material, and the material here is MI sports car material. It is applying, so this one is setting the material for our mesh, and setting some values inside this material, and we are not going to talk about that material right now. But the issue here is it is setting a sports car material to our KSRTC body. So that is the issue here. So adding a brake light material, we don't have a material for our KSRTC bus, so adding a brake light material will be an issue. So let's disconnect that. To disconnect my brake light, I just hold Alt button and press on this trigger, and we don't need these brake lights too. It is the same one. So it's not the same one, it has small change. It is setting a different material without the brake light on, I think, or is it a parameter? I don't remember. And but we don't need this node too. We can just disconnect this one, and now we need this one. This is the set brake input. It is setting the brake input to 0. Only if we set the brake input to 0, this one will work. So we need this one, but we don't need these two brake lights. So we'll disconnect this one too, and let's put it back here. And I think it should be when we complete that input. So this trigger is triggering whenever we are pressing the brake input. I think this one is the S1, or yeah, this one is the S1 S key, and this complete trigger is whenever we are taking off our hand from our S key. Yeah, it is, this one is triggered. I think that makes sense. And also there's another handbrake option here, and this one is our space key, and whenever that triggered, it is setting the brake lights again. And let's turn off that, and when that completes, it's turning off that brake lights again. So let's turn that off too. We don't need this node to be working. These nodes are here, but it is not connected to any trigger, so it won't be triggered. Let's keep that here. We might need that later. Let's put it back here, and let's keep it here, so we don't forget that to be connected. Okay, and yeah, let's hit compile and hit play, and let's try that again. And I'm moving and hit brake. It stopped, but it didn't change our material. So yeah, that's working. Let's go to the next thing. Okay, now let's do our camera thing. If you don't remember what was that, let's open it again. And I can move our camera left and right, but I can't move the camera up and down. Let's fix that. So let's move into our vehicle's input options. If I go to our IMC default, if you remember that one, this one is where we assign our keys for that. And let's see our camera look around option. Our mouse X is the one controlling our look around option. And let's close this thing. Yeah, and let's go to that look around input action. If you remember, we need to add input actions here, and let's open that up. And it's an axis 1D float. Let's change it to axis 2D float so we can have our mouse X and Y. So let's hit save, and in our IMC default it's still using our mouse X option. Let's open that up, and let's search for our mouse, and this time we need our mouse X and Y. So let's go mouse XY 2D axis, and this one is from our gamepad right thumbstick x-axis. We have our gamepad now, so let's change that to gamepad right thumbstick and 2D axis. We need the 2D axis. We just don't need x-axis or y-axis. We need both. So let's change it to 2D axis and hit save. Let's go back to our parent phone. There should be some issue here. I think was the camera thing. This is the camera thing. Okay, handbrake. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's select all this and turn our bubble when zoomed out, so it is easier to see what all these things are. Let's select all the comment boxes, come on, and turn the show bubble while zoomed out. So this thing is switching the camera, and yeah, allows player to rotate the camera. I'll take this one and move it somewhere here. Let's go closer to the camera, and this should be changed because we have changed our input action around. It should be giving two values, but I'm not sure. Let's hit compile. Yeah, it's showing some error, so that's because it is giving a single value right now, but as we changed this one to a 2D axis 2D vector, it should be giving two values. So this one is giving two values, and we are connecting that two values into a single value, so that is the issue. So let's right click and split. I think we need to disconnect it first, then right click and split struct pin, and as you can see we are getting X value and the Y value. So as before, the X value should be controlling our Z rotation or your delta rotation Z, and if I hit compile, it will be working as it was before, but we are also getting the Y value here. We can connect that to the pitch, I think, or was it the roll? Let's try the pitch. I think that was pitch, and let's save and go back to our bus world and hit play. Now if I move X and X, it is working, and Y, it is working, but it's not showing up because there's a different one playing here. I think, yeah, reset, no, that one, yeah, it is this one. The in-depth origin rotation, it is a event, it's a custom event which we disconnected. If you remember that one, if we replace that with this one to trigger, and it is triggering in every tick. Every tick means every frame of the game it is triggering this origin rotation, and if I double click on that one, let's see what it is doing. It is triggering and it is setting the relative rotation to 0x 0y, and your rotation is coming from our spring angle and having a small return value. Let's disconnect this one for now and let's try again. Let's hit play, and the x is working and the y is also working. Now let's see what's that custom event is doing. Let's try only on the x right now, and if I change the x, whenever I change the x and leave my mouse or the gamepad, it's leaving them. Now let's reconnect that one, and let's hit compile, and let's hit play again, and I'm moving to the x, and if I remove my hand from the mouse or the gamepad, the camera is resetting back to the default position. And I find that easier when driving a bus. It resetting back in an animation way, in a interpolation way, with an interpolation is good for our bus, and our bus is fallen down. It's okay, but the camera is setting back, so let's hit escape and look at that interpolation. So for yo, it is using an interpolation. This green node is actually setting back to 0, but with a time frame of 1 second. It take the z-axis we set here and it set back to 0 in a second. So it is slowly turning back to the 0 instead of setting 0 as it is here, but the spring arm is setting back to 0 instantly in every frame. So so the result will be we are not moving in y-axis. We need the same interpolation for our y-axis too. So let's give this some space and move this a bit down, and let's duplicate this one. I press Ctrl D, and yep, let's move it below, and our current rotation should be our spring arms y pitch. Let's put it on the current one, and let's put the target to 0. We need to move the current rotation to 0. In the delta time, we need to connect this world delta time in seconds to this delta time, and 1 is okay. We can interpolate that in 1 second, so it will be moving from this angle to 0 in a second. Okay, so let's connect that to pitch, and let's compile, let's save and hit play again. And as you can see, if I move, the camera is coming back and everything is working with x and y. And if I move, it is easier to do this way. Okay, and let's hit stop, and let's press tab and get inside our bus, and this one is not moving with our mouse axis, so we can connect this two with our mouse axis. Let's go to our parent pawn, and I think yours front camera is outside this spring arm. If I open that one up, let's go to our sports car, and this one is the default one. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it has a spring arm. Okay, if you don't have a spring arm, just add a spring arm and put the front camera inside that one, because there are some options we get from spring arm we could use later, like if there's too much shake, we can reduce shake. We can use this as a stabilizer and such things. So just add a spring arm if you don't have one, and put the camera inside the spring arm. And I move to my camera spring arm from not here in our bus. Let's go to our KSRTC bus blueprint, and I move the spring arm to here. Let's see, and I if I can move, let's reduce the camera speed. So as you can see, I put my camera just above the head of a driver, so it is placed, and the spring arm value is 0 because we need our camera in the same place of our spring arm. Now let's turn this spring arm with our let's go to event graph with our this camera. Okay, so let's get our spring arm, and we need a local rotation, so we need it as an additive one. We need to add local rotation with this value, so let's add a local rotation, add local rotation, add local rotation, and we can right click and split structure pin for getting the values from here, and let's trigger it on after this one, or the same time it will work simultaneously. And we get the x again to our z and y again to our y, and let's hit compile and save, hit play, and if I hit tab, we go to our camera and it's changing the camera. The only issue is it is not resetting back, so let's try that too. To reset our camera, we need to change something here. All we have to do is, let's get our spring arm again. You can duplicate this one or just add it again, and we need our set relative rotation, and let's split it again. You can do just take this rotation and set this arms rotation and set it here, that will work too. Or we already have these nodes here, so we can just go with this one with y pitch and this one with z yaw, and let's set this one for triggering, and let's hit play again. And if I hit tab, as you can see, my camera is coming back to the default location, and that will be a good thing to have. So that's how we change our input action method to 1D, 2D or bool, whichever. You can interchange that later. And in this case, we changed into 2D axis and get two values at the same time from one trigger, and we set that to our camera. Next video, we'll be animating our steering and our doors. We can open and close our doors. It has a slightly different method. We'll be animating that with animation blueprint instead of this event blueprint we just did. Yeah, that's it. So this tutorial is done, and I once again apologize for the delay, and I have learned a lot thing there, and one main thing is I have lost many of these files, even this game and a different game too that is coming up. We will be discussing that game in a different video, so I'll be leaving that one. And I have lost many files, and I have to reset my PC. I have to reinstall the Windows, some malware issues, and yeah, these days are hell. Anyway, one single simple tool saved me the. I'll be introducing that tool to you in a different video too, and it saved me with a lot of files with the ongoing project. It saved me the, so I'll be introducing that tool to you too. I'll be making some changes in my tutorials and videos. If you don't like that, or if you like this method, or if you want to make changes that too, please write in the comment. I'm willing to make any changes, because YouTube algorithm hates me and it's my method, so I need to make some changes. And I did some researches and find that out my camera quality is an issue, and I'm a bit down with my chili right now, so I can't change the camera. I did change the method with I think that I'll show you. I think that is this NVIDIA broadcasting for this background change and everything, and I did that, and I noticed many of the guys using lights, and I tried to use it, and yeah, it is a disaster. Have these lights and it is a disaster, so yeah, waste of some money there. Anyway, yeah, I'll try to get a quality camera, not right now. Anyway, see you in the next video.